Hi, it's Virginia from theheartographer.com, and I'd like to show you how to create an anonymous Gmail address that you can use with your online dating profile. So for starters, we go to gmail.com. You can either click the link if you're right here on Google like me, or you can go to the address bar and enter it. And if you were signed in from a prior session, you would see that in this interface. It would go to like your inbox. You would hop up to the upper right corner and pull down the little arrow that allows you to select the option to sign out. So is everybody signed out? Are we good? All right. Now let's go to this button, Create an Account. Once we're on this account creation interface, I'm going to walk you through every different field so that you can see exactly what you ought to put in each field, and I'll tell you why. In the name field, I don't want you to put your real name necessarily. I don't want you to put your whole name, not your last name, not a family name, not a maiden name. I want you to put your real first name. For me, that's Virginia, as you probably know. And then I want you to put something playful and silly as the second field. I know that's a little hard to come up with, so you might need to rewatch this after you've spent some time thinking about it. But I'm going to walk you through a few examples to give you a sense of what I'm after. Virginia likes kittens. Silly and fun, right? Goofy, playful. Clearly, I'm a human female who's named Virginia, but then I also have some kind of descriptor that gives a little personality and does not reveal my last name. Let's think about some other subs. And I do. I love coffee. I would refrain from putting any kind of alcoholic substance there unless it's something pretty low-key or you're just very comfortable with how much you love it, because it can give a little bit of an impression that you're a bit too much of a drinker if you put that one in there. I do love champagne, but I probably wouldn't put that. I could do Virginia is a Viking. Why not? Virginia the Lioness, right? So there's lots of different things. Virginia writes. Indeed I do. There's lots of different things that you can do in this field. Let's come up with something silly for me. Virginia can't swim. That's not actually true, but if it were true, that would be kind of a charming, funny little anecdote to put right there. It tells you something about me, and it's playful and funny and silly, and it's kind of putting my vulnerability out there, this pretend version of me who can't swim. I can't swim well, for what it's worth. So something like that is a good vibe to go for. Now, in the username field, you can either try to match the display name that we just entered, or you can come up with something different. It doesn't matter a ton to me as long as, once again, you're not using your name like your last name or a family name, and you're not putting anything sort of identifying beyond your first name. I do think it's a good idea to include that first name or something about you. I would urge you to stay away from numbers. Numbers are boring and confusing and make you seem a little robotic. So even if that's an easy way to remember something like the year of your birth, avoid that. So I'm going to put Virginia writes at gmail.com. Oh, and it's telling me, oh, somebody already has that username. Try another. And it gives me a couple of really bad suggestions. I think I'm going to go with Virginia can't swim. So you need to pick something in this field that is not claimed by another Gmail user. And Gmail's pretty darn popular. But the form will tell you. Just wait, keep trying until you get a username that works. You can't use underscores like one of these in Gmail, but you can use dots. So if you want something to separate words, you could do so with a dot. So now that I've got Virginia can't swim at gmail.com, I'm going to create a password. As you can tell by Google's little tooltip here, it needs to be at least 8 characters. It should not be a password from another site or something too obvious. I'm not the foremost password authority, and there are a lot of better sources that you can consult for password advice. But in a nutshell, this is about right. You should also make it ideally a combination of upper and lowercase letters, numbers, and symbols. That's the way to get a really secure password. I'm going to leave it up to you to come up with what you need, but I'm going to walk you through how this interface works. When I start creating a password, it's going to show the strength of that password with a little progress bar underneath the word password strength. So you can see that it's like light gray right now. As I start typing a password, it's going to go green and then yellow and then red as my password gets more secure and more complex, okay? Green is good. Oh, I think I said it backwards. Red, yellow, then green. Watch the bar. Red, red, blue, just kidding, fair, yellow. All right, there we go. I made it all the way to green. Those were a lot of colors that I didn't expect in that order, but you get the idea. So you just keep going. You want something that's increasingly complex and strong. And of course, you have to match them. Totally doesn't match. You can tell it's a different number of characters, right? So let's try again. Oh, good, they match. Okay, so make sure you get that right. Jot it down somewhere, please. Jot it down somewhere, because ideally I don't want you to have to call me asking what it is when I won't know the answer. And it's stressful to have to go through the whole recovery process. So write it down somewhere. Remember, this is only your fake email account, so it's not as important to keep quite as secure as everything else in your life, but good safety behavior is always to be lauded. Okay, so next we're gonna do the birthday field. I like it to be close to my actual birthday, but not actually. You could do it one day off. I just do it the first of the month I was born, in the same year that I was born. I was born in late March, but I just put that because at least it'll reflect my accurate age if that's used for any kind of age display anywhere. I don't think this is publicly available, but I don't trust that it will always remain private, so I just like to put something that could be accurate. Jot this one down too, just in case. Female. Go ahead and answer the gender question with whatever's accurate for you. Skip the mobile phone question for now. We're not going to do that one. And for the current email address, you do want to enter your valid primary email address. Don't use a work email address. Use something that you actually use, that you can get access to at home, usually that you can get access to on the web anywhere. That's helpful. Mine is this, va@thehartographer.com. If you're wondering why it's VA, it's because it's the abbreviation for the state of Virginia, so it's kind of a nickname of mine, and it's shorter. So I entered my valid real email address here, and now for the next step, prove you're not a robot. We're not gonna check that skip box. We're gonna go ahead and do it. Now these little image things are very confusing sometimes because it can be very difficult to tell what the heck they're saying. But I recommend doing this rather than other types of verification. So it's quicker and it's easier. So if you can't tell what it says, instead of doing any other option, I recommend just reloading it with this little reload symbol. See how it says get a new challenge? Reloading, nope, reloading. I'm just gonna keep clicking reload. It doesn't reload the whole page. It only reloads this until I get to a point where I get one where I can tell really easily exactly what it says, and I can tell what case all the letters are in. I can tell this one. This is a little tricky, but I can tell that's BOARYNO space WORLD, all lowercase. Just keep flipping through them until you find one that makes you happy and that you can identify. It'll tell you if it gets it wrong. As far as the location goes, this usually automatically populates with your current location. If it doesn't, just go ahead and enter what your usual current location is, or your usual primary location. Down here, uncheck the bottom box saying that Google may use your account information to personalize +1s. We'll talk about that in a minute. And you have to check to agree to the Google Terms of Service and Privacy Policy. And then we can go next step. Now, this verification is a little confusing. I don't know why it sometimes asks for this and sometimes doesn't. It actually only does this because I've opened so many new Gmail accounts today from this same IP address while I've been recording takes for this video. So let's just, let's pop that in there. If you get asked for it, just enter it. You never know if it's going to be text or voice, but, I'm sorry, you can choose whether it's text or voice. I'm choosing text because I think that'll be faster because I know how Google works. So once you get that verification code, then you can enter it in here so that you can continue to your inbox. It's taken a little while for me. I'll pop back in with a new take once it shows up because I think that it's taking its sweet time. Oh, there it is. Of course, once I threaten to stop recording, then it shows up. So I got a text message with my verification code, and it's 917593. Make sure you enter it just like it says in your text or just like you heard in the voice call. And it's trying to create me a profile even though I didn't want that. So I'm just gonna say next step. I don't wanna add a picture. You can if you really want to, but I don't think it's a good idea because creating a public Google profile means that you're going to be recognizable in G+ and on all sorts of Google integrated services like YouTube. So I would say skip this because this is, again, your fake email address that you're just using for the purposes of initial online dating contacts until you feel comfortable and safe enough with someone to let them have your primary email information. So skip this, just click next step. And now we finally get to continue. I don't know why we have to click an extra box. That's just because Google likes to keep us on our toes. So now here we are in our main Gmail inbox. And you can see that my display name appears as Virginia Can't Swim. Okay? So it's not going to show up as Virginia Roberts, my real name. It's going to show up as something fake so that I remain a little bit protected and a little bit anonymous until I get to know someone well enough to want to let them further into my life. So there you have it. Now you know how to create your fake Gmail address that you're going to use only to associate with your online dating profiles. I hope this has been helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions. Happy dating!